This parish was my first assignment, and I was here in 92 to 94. The last time I was here was just as they were putting the scaffolding up for this beautiful piece of artwork you have here. So I commend all of you for what a wonderful job the artists did, and for all of you who helped make this a reality. You did a very fine job. A story is told about a pastor that got up in the pulpit and apologized for a Band-Aid he had on his face. He said to the parishioners, "I was thinking about my homily while shaving my face, and I cut my face." Afterwards, when all the masses were done, the priest found a note in the collection plate that said, "Next time, Father, think about your face when you're shaving and cut the homily." Sorry, I didn't cut my face, so you get the homily. In April 1986, two gray-haired men greeted each other in Tokyo's airport. Both men had tears in their eyes. One was an American, and the other one was a Japanese. The last time they met was 40 years prior to that in the cave of Okinawa. Sergeant Panich had brought a small 5-year-old Japanese boy who had been shot in the legs into the cave. He was washing the wounds of the child, trying to stop the bleeding. Ishibashi was a sniper hiding in the cave. He came out of the dark corner. He aimed his rifle at the sergeant and prepared to fire point blank. There was nothing the American could do. He simply continued tending to the child while the Japanese watched in amazement. And then the Japanese lowered his rifle. The sergeant stood up, took the child in his arms, bowed, and said the word hospital in Japanese. He left the cave and took the child to an American field hospital. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. When Jesus spoke the Beatitudes, he was talking to the crowds, everyday people like you and me. He was not giving some high-octane spiritual advice that only the already highly sanctified could follow. He was giving us a prescription, saying to be a part of God's family, we need to respond to the challenges of the Beatitudes in our daily life. You see, the Beatitudes propose to us a way of life, inviting us to identify with the poor, those who mourn, the meek, and those who hunger and thirst for justice. They challenge us to be compassionate people, to be men and women who are pure in heart, and to become the peacemakers in our dealings with one another, in our families, and in our society at large, even if this approach to things exposes us to ridicule and persecution. We must remember that each time we reach out to the needy, the sick, and the oppressed, we share them with a foretaste of the promises of the Beatitudes in the here and the now. Have you ever forgiven someone? Ever said, "Do not worry about it. Let's move on and begin again"? That is an example of blessed are they who show mercy. Have you ever realized that you were helpless in a certain situation and had only God to rely on? That is blessed are the poor in spirit. Have you ever been in a situation where the wrong thing looked extremely attractive and the right thing looked extremely difficult, and you asked God to help you to do the right thing because you really wanted to do it, but you were not sure if you could? That is blessed are they who hunger and thirst for holiness. Have you ever been extremely sad and upset over a loss of some kind, worked your way through it, and later realized that it helped you grow and become a better person? That is blessed are the sorrowing. In my 16 years of working in healthcare as a hospice and a hospital chaplain, I visited many patient homes, nursing facilities, and hospitals. And I must admit, there were visits that I was ever so shocked. mental patients, women and children. It was more like something like that one TV show that showed people hoarding material things throughout their house, where I could barely walk from room to room with a pile of stuff almost reaching their ceiling. Or in the nursing facilities, where 2 or 3 elderly were crammed into one room, where the smell was so bad you had to cover your nose and you could taste the stench in your mouth. So what do followers of Christ say to these people in our midst? Do we dare say, "Blessed are you, you are fortunate, you are in a fortunate situation"? So can we at least say, "Blessed are you because God loves you, because Christ has a special place in his heart for the oppressed, the disinherited"? Blessed are you because somehow, we do not know how, somehow the blessings of God's kingdom will be theirs. Blessed are you because God alone can fill your emptiness. Blessed are you because God pricks our conscience and reveals to us our poverty in God's eyes. Blessed are you because you are living the crucified Christ that we so often avoid in our daily life. My friends, today's gospel is an invitation to ask ourselves, to what extent do we qualify to be called blessed by Jesus? Are we a person whom Jesus would give the name merciful? Are we a person whom Jesus gives the name peacemaker? Are we a person to whom Jesus would give the name poor in spirit? Do we ever stop to think what it means to be Christian? There are no easy answers to these questions. It would be easier to pretend the challenge is not there. Perhaps, just maybe perhaps, there could be another beatitude added to this list, something like this: Blessed are those who struggle with the issues, who suffer criticism for acting on behalf of the gospel. Their reward? Maybe Zephaniah gives us a clue in the words that we heard and uttered by the Lord in our first reading. They will pasture and lie down, and no one shall disturb them, or in better words, make them afraid. There was a long-running soap opera called One Life to Live. Today's gospel asks us a simple question: how are we living our life? And is it the one life we want to live in the name of the Lord? May we live our life being poor in spirit, humble of heart, so that one day we too can rejoice and be glad, knowing that our reward in heaven will be great.